Hey, Dina. What's going on, everybody? Killer Cal. What's up, Casey? I said, like always, I hope everybody's having a good day, having a good week so far. I know it's still the beginning of the week. It's been hot. Trust me, I know. I've been working in it. Hope everybody's staying hydrated. My glasses are really bugging me today. I have no clue. Give me a second. It's hitting me with a whole bunch of glare. A little better. What's up, Rati? Oh, Lupe's first album. One of the greatest albums ever. One more minute and we're gonna get started. Why don't you give me a chance? All right. Good evening, everyone. Like I said before, I hope everybody's having a great week so far. I know it's the beginning of the week. I know, it's been hot. I hope everybody's been staying hydrated and whatnot. Today's topic, we are talking about fatherhood. But before I get into today's topic, I think before each talk, I guess I should go over my mission statement just so that we know it. The mission statement that I am trying to produce here is that I'm here to show what it means to raise, build, uplift true manhood in today's society, starting with myself. Emphasis on starting with myself, because I believe as a man, nothing will be able to change. You cannot change the world unless you change yourself. So that is the goal. That is the goal of me talking to you. That is the goal of your input with me, is that each one, reach one, teach one. All right, so today's topic is fatherhood. And as we speak on fatherhood, my child calls me. So, what am I doing? I'm being a dad. Yes, Charlie. Come get a Pop-Tart. Dad life. Get a Pop-Tart. And don't spill it. Okay. Sorry. So, like I was saying, today's topic is fatherhood. So, what is a dad? All right? So to me, I think as a man, because this is a manhood podcast, right? This is staged. I wish it was staged. It's not. I think as a dad, I think as a man, your most important job that you can have is being a father, right? That is, in essence, what's the word I'm looking for? The highest level of manhood you can reach is being a father, right? Passing on all your knowledge, your wisdom, your failures. I mean, what you learned from your failures onto somebody who can now go on into the world and pretty much, your goal as a father is to produce children that can go on and be self-sustaining into the world, right? So that's your main and most important job as a man, is to be a father, right? And I guess for me, I guess I should start with my father's story, right? How I became a father. So, as we all know, I became a father before I was married, right? Normally what you're supposed to do is get married, be a husband, have a child, and that's when you become a father. But it doesn't always work out that way. So I became a father before I was married. My wife and I got pregnant about, actually Thursday makes exactly 6 years ago. We had our first child. So we got pregnant, we had our child on the 23rd of July, in 2014, and I became a father. I will tell you with my fatherhood story is that was one of the most enlightening, right? Am I saying that right? It sounds weird. And most scariest times of my life. Till this day, it's a little scary, I think I've gotten more of a groove into it, but it's still scary. And at that time, it was frightening. Like, the whole pregnancy, nothing scared me throughout it. I always thought I could be a great dad. Growing up, I always thought I could be a great dad because I felt like my dad was a great dad and I could just emulate and copy that, right? And I didn't have a problem, once my wife told me she was pregnant and we were going to be a kid. Like, at first it was, once the initial shock wore off, I was like, yes, can't wait. I wanted a boy from jump. Like, couldn't wait, gonna be a dad. And then all of a sudden he came, and I remember the day he was born, right? After they took him out and we were bringing in the families to come see, and I went to go get my mother to come in to see this newborn child. And on the way walking back, I haven't really told anybody this, but on the way walking back, I almost dropped, in a sense. Like, I'm walking and my knees gave away. I hit the wall. My mother looked back and was like, "Are you all right?" I'm like, yeah, faked it off. But at that point in time, I think everything kind of hit me, where it was like, boom, you're about to have a kid. You don't have a pot to piss in. You don't have a career. Everything's him. Is like, what are you going to do? And it was one of the most nerve-wracking, fearful moments I have had in life. Because it literally all hit me at once. And I didn't know what the hell to do. I was in charge, as long as with my wife, we're in charge of this one little kid that at that point in time couldn't feed himself, couldn't clean himself, couldn't do anything by himself. And that's what I'm supposed to take care of. I'm still living with my mother at the time. I think I'm still on a family plan on the phone. There was no reason for me to be having a kid. And yet I had one. And now I have to take care of him. So, initially, yes, my father's story, I was scared. At one point, I did kind of disappear from my father duties. because of the initial shock. And I'm not proud saying this. I'm not going around saying like this is how it's always is with people, but like at one point I understood why some men left, right? Like I understood why some men were just like, yo, I can't do this, and disappeared. Not saying that's what I would have done, clearly, because to me, it was always, I don't see myself putting somebody in this world and I can't be a part of that. So after I had my moment, sucked it up, went back to it. But at one point I did understand, like, yo, I get it. I completely get it. And it's not something that I'm proud to say or whatever. It's a realization as a man, like, people go through shit, right? And I guess what happens with my fatherhood story, and I guess me having that moment is, if we go back to it, on me and my father, right? At a certain point, my father wasn't around. And I felt like maybe me not being around was just okay, right? Because I felt like I was okay. I felt like nothing was wrong with me. But, looking back at it and looking back on how I grew up, I do see things that are wrong, and I do see things that could have been changed. Hi, Margaret. Hey, Leyland. So yeah, that's part of my fathering story. Now, how do I feel about being a father? I think it's great. I think it's great. I think it's one of the most fun, the hardest, like, exciting. Every day is a new thing. Every day is something new. Every day I learn something new. Every day I get to teach something new. Every day I get to experience something new. And every day, sometimes actually shit doesn't change. Like, it just is the same. But every day is something. I get to come home with somebody who pretty much, it's kind of one of those things, like when you're a kid, like you want a quote unquote like worshiper. But in essence, when you're a parent, when you're a father, you get to come home to somebody who literally worships the ground you walk on. And it's exciting because I don't know what it is to have a girl. I do want a girl. I don't know what it is to have a girl. I watch my friends who have girls, how they react to them. But for me, I'm the father of a boy, and it's a lot of energy. You have to have a lot of energy. And boys are... I couldn't wait for him to be this age he is now. My son is turning 6 on Thursday. I could not wait for him to be this age he is now. I'm sorry, I'm fathering at this point, right? I could not wait for that. I couldn't wait for him to be walking and talking, because at that point, like, now I can do everything that I wanted to do with him, right? We can go play sports. We watch sports together. We, talk. Like, we walk around. Like, I get to hang out with my little man. And it was one of those things that, me being his age, I remember doing with my dad. I remember my dad had an 87 Mustang. My favorite car in the world, right? And I remember, like, just always wanting to go out with him. Whenever he hung out and he brought me, like, I got to chill with my dad and hang out and all that. It's the greatest thing in the world. So that's what I wanted. And when I wanted a kid, I wanted to be able to do the same exact things that me and my dad did, Like, he gets he sees me every, Friday night or Saturday morning. I'm washing cars. He's like, Dad, can I help? And he'll come out and help. And right now he's on tire duty because we got to break him in slowly. But like, it's so much fun. It's so much fun. Oh shoot, Mr. Hall, what's up? But so having this, oh hey Mag. So having this kid, it's a blessing. It's a blessing. It's hard work, but it's a blessing. And like I said, like how I was that fathered is like I was my father's mini me. That's exactly who I was. That's who I wanted to be. Was my father's mini me. For those of you who don't know, I'm named after my father. My son is named after me and my father. So there's three of us. And I thought that was that's the type of impact my dad had on me, right? That I loved it so much that I loved the name that I got, that I wanted to pass that on, right? And of course I would want it to keep going, but that's indicative on the job that I do, right? So just before we I go back, keep going into these just stories, I guess let's define why are dads important, right? Why are fathers important? Why is fatherhood important, right? We all know about moms. Moms get all the credit, get all the honor, get all the glory, and they deserve it. Being a mother, like I said, dad being a father is hard, but being a mother is even harder. Everything that child needs as far as sustenance, as far as love, emotional support, the mother has been doing that since inception. So there will be no slander of moms, none of that. Because their job is one of the most, if not the most difficult job in the world. But as a father, what is a father here for, right? Why are we important? I remember reading something maybe about a year or two ago, and it was just giving different things of why dads were important. And this one bit kind of actually made an impression on me, right? So it was pretty much saying how the mom, like I said, mother has loved that child since inception. She's grown that child. That child has built a bond with mom from jump. Whereas dad, the child really has no bond with, right? Dad is more of a forced bond. And even being a father, yes, you love your child from the day they're born, from the day of inception. The day you find out that you're having a child, you're in love with the child, but you don't have that same type of bond. So like, I remember like him being born, I didn't know what to do because me and him had never really connected. Like they do the whole skin to skin thing and I was doing that a lot, but like there was no real like connection until maybe like a couple of weeks in, where you started really bonding. And even a couple of weeks in, I was kind of like confused in a sense, right? Like I didn't know what to do. And you didn't know how to make this child happy. Then there's a shift where the child starts seeking your affection, right? So back to what I was saying with that that article I was reading, it was saying that a father is important because a father doesn't have that automatic bond with the child. The child has to now seek the father's love, right? To seek the other parents, the parent that is not connected has to seek that love. So the child is now learning how to please people, learning how to not, I feel like there's another word for please, but learning how to please another person in essence, right? You're fighting for the love and the attention, there we go, that's what I was looking for the attention of another human being. Because mom will always give you that love. Mom will always give you that attention for the most part, right? We know there's outliers. Everything's not exactly perfect, but mom will always give you that. They know they have mom's attention. They know they have mom's love, but they have to fight for dad's attention and fight for dad's love and seek acceptance, right? So that's a big cognitive thing that they have to do. So fathers are important because they show acceptance, right? They show accountability, right? Your dad is the one that, for the most part, disciplines you, in essence, right? Or holds you accountable to certain things. If you say you're going to do something, dad is going to be the one like, well, you said you were going to do this. My dad, till this day, has not let me forget. It was 90, when did we go in? We was in Disney World, and I lost his camera. I left it. I wanted to hold it so bad, so he let me hold it, and I lost the camera. I left it at one of the restaurants. We went back, the camera was gone. And I told him, when I get older, I'm gonna buy him a camera. Till this day, that man has not let me forget that I told him I was gonna buy him a camera. So, even though he has one, he has a great camera, but he does not let me forget it, that I was gonna buy him a camera. So, dads will hold you accountable. They don't forget. Dads are also mentors, right? Dads will show you the way. Dads will boost your ego. Dads will teach you things. They're teachers. They teach you life lessons. You know, hey Karen. So that's why dads are important, right? Also, there's a saying, and I said this in one of my middays with Drin earlier, I think it was last week, as go the father, so go the family, right? Dads are supposed to be, the foundations of the household, foundation of the family. Dads are supposed to be able to take the brunt of everything. Fathers are supposed to be able to shield the family. So if we go back to the beginning where I was talking about manhood, how a man is supposed to be a tree, right? A man's supposed to provide shade and branches and leaves for those that he's protecting. In that tree, in essence, a father, right? As a man, you are the roots of that tree, right? Where the branches bear the fruit and all that stuff, you're the roots. You're holding that tree together. You're providing the nutrients for everybody in the family, right? So as go the father, so go the family. Meaning that if you and your fatherness and your fatherhoodness is not rooted, your family will suffer. Your children will suffer. We all know people who hadn't had a father, right? I know one prime example I know many prime examples actually of people who just didn't have fathers. And I know positive ones and I know negative ones. Negative ones, it's a known thing that being in a household without a father leads to drug abuse, leads to jail, it leads to being in trouble with the law, non-accountability, abusiveness. It leads to a lot of things, right? So, especially if we're going to talk about black fathers, right? Because that's a big thing for me being as a black father, especially one of a boy. It's like, I know I'm not leaving that kid at all. Under no circumstances am I leaving him. I might go away for work. I'm in the military. Yes, I can get deployed in the center, but I am not leaving him to grow up thinking that his dad didn't love him, thinking that his dad just abandoned him, right? Because that abandonment issues leads to so much things. You know, it leads to being aggressive. It leads to being, you know, non-compliant, all that. It leads to all that because you're now missing part of you. Like I said, mom will always love you, but dad, you have to earn that. You have to seek that attention. You have to please dad. So fathers play a big part, right? They play a big part in the development of their child. And it's sad that today, especially today, you have a lot of instances of fathers not being there. And for those of you that don't know, like, I originally started really moving into this idea of doing this Insta Live and eventually going into the podcast is because I wound up joining one of my friends' podcasts. His podcast is Fathers Are Important. And we spoke about fathers, and he's a black father who is going through stuff. What's the word he coined it? Parental alienation, which is a big thing, where you are a parent and the other parent is now alienating you from that child, which is a form of abuse because they just don't see your worth, right? And here's another thing, like, without a father being there, moms might think that, okay, well, my father wasn't there, so this person doesn't need to be there either. Boom. And the cycle continues. But not realizing the reasoning why the cycle continues, or the reasoning why you feel that way, the reason why you've grown up and maybe even chose this person as a potential, I guess, quote unquote, sperm donor, is because your dad wasn't there. You know, the reason why you as a man, chose this woman to impregnate her, or you were wilding and not putting a condom, whatever it is, right? Living your life recklessly, is because your dad wasn't there. You know, talking to you, showing you what it is to be a man, what it is to be in a healthy relationship. What's going on, Ernest? What it is to be in a healthy relationship, to now not put yourself in those instances, right? So those are very big things, and that's why I say, as go the father, so go the family. But here's another part of that. Most of you guys heard that quote, right? But here's another part of that quote that people actually don't even hear. So go the family, as go the nation. So if we look at that second part, and then we look at our country that we're in as a whole right now, and then we look at the amount of fatherlessness in the country, and now we're seeing what that represents, right? Because let's not kid ourselves, right? Just because two parents are in the house, you have your dad, doesn't mean he's always your dad. Doesn't mean he's always there. So yes, you can be present and still not father correctly, right? And we're gonna go into, you know, what ways it makes a good father, and what fathers. I have things that where it's what should fathers do to help. But as we're looking into this country, right, we're going this, I would say, an epidemic, right, of fatherless children. And then now what you're seeing is our country going crazy. Whether it be the riots, whether it be old boy in the White House, the laws that we get, all that is literally part of it, right? Fathers are missing. People aren't held accountable. People start going crazy in the streets, and we're getting chaos, right? And I was actually listening to something, right? And I'm not trying to get too political or whatever, but I just found it very interesting that we have Agent Orange in the White House, and I watched the documentary on his great-grandfather and his father. And yes, they were there, but like, they didn't really father. And then now you see the way it was, like, as I'm watching, I'm like, well, I fully understand why he is the way he is, why he doesn't feel like he's held accountable for anything that he does, because in essence, he wasn't cared for at all. The heir apparent was his older brother, and that's who the grandfather focused on, or his father focused on, and didn't really give a shit about him. So he kind of did whatever the hell he wants, and now we're seeing, the fruits of that. But anyway, back to what we're talking about with dads. What's up, Jay? As goes the father, so go the family, so go the family, as goes the nation, right? I want to speak on right now, I guess, what it is to be a great father, right? Or at least what do I think a great father entails. I think a great father is patient, right? You have to have patience to be a dad. You have patience to be a parent, period, right? Because not everything is going to come right away to your kids. And it's a hard lesson that I'm learning, because to me, shit is simple, right? I'm an adult. Shit is simple. And when I'm teaching my son stuff and he's just not getting it, it's funny. I hate saying shit like this because I don't want to admit it to my parents. But it's like things that I know for a fact he understands, because he's done it. He's understood it before. He's said it to me. And then he's like, but I don't get it. Or like he'll make it like he doesn't know. And I'm like, I know you know it. And then I find myself literally being my dad. And I'm like, oh shit, this is not cool. Like, and you kind of have to readjust. So patience is a very big one as a parent, because you just have to be patient with your kid. They'll get it on their own time. I think you have to be loving as a parent, right? Everything you do must lead in love, regardless of whether it's discipline or fun. You must lead in love. I think it's very important for your kids to know that you love them. I think it's very important for you to say, I love you to your children. I think it's very important as a dad, especially, because you always hear those stories of like, my dad never told me he loved me. And I don't believe that should be something done, right? I tell my kid I love him all the time. Sometimes I'll be staring at him and he'll be like, what? And I'll be like, I love you. And he's like, I love you too. And growing up, my dad didn't say I loved you like that. At least not on like a random. Like, he would say I love you. Don't get me wrong. He did it. But it wasn't like on a random whim like, hey, I love you. Like, it was never nothing like that. So it felt weird when he did say I love you or whatever. Like I said in a previous video, now we say I love you like it's no problem. But like, we had to build to that. Whereas me and my son now, we say I love you. He'll be like, Dad, I love you. And I'm like, I love you too, son. And he does it all the time. I do it all the time. I say, hey, I want a hug. Come hug me. I love you. This and that. Like, you're just showing love and affection as a dad is very important. Especially. And I might sound biased, whatever. It's a manhood podcast. It's a manhood Instagram. Especially to these boys. You got to tell them you love them all the time. You got to show them affection all the time. They need to know that they are wanted, that they are needed, that they are loved, they're cherished. They need to know it. And that's not to take away from the girls. The girls need to know that too. Especially from a man. The girls need to know that too. But the thing is, for the most part, a girl will always find their father's affection. For the most part. Like, if your father's active in their life, the girl will always know daddy loves them. But these boys are always told, man up. Don't show affection. Don't show love, because that makes you weak. But these boys definitely need to know that it's okay. And I know I deal with that. I know I deal with not showing affection because it makes it feel like in my adult life that it feels to make me leave. When it comes to him, yes, I'm gonna show the affection because I don't want him to grow up thinking that he can't show the affection. But I know for me, it was one of those things like, yo, you showing affection or you showing love or you showing any type of emotion, it makes you weak. So I want to kind of nip that and switch that, right, with him. What else do I feel that fathers should do? I feel like fathers, and I struggle with this, fathers shouldn't complain. And I don't think it's for the fact of like we shouldn't complain about being wronged or whatever. Yes, voice your opinions, but I feel like as a father, there's no choice but to provide, protect, and build up your family. Like, you have no choice about that. These kids are yours and you have to build them, right? I guess I can go into the five things that make a great father, right? This is from T.D. Jakes, right? His 5 things that make a great father is to be a protector, right? You must protect your kids. You protect your family. And that's just man things, right? You're a protector. That's what you're built for. Your body is built, and of course everybody can fight, but like physically as a man, you're built to protect. You're built to defend. You're built to fight, right? So when it comes to your kids, you should be that protector, right? Bullying's big in this world. There should be no reason why your kids could not feel like they can come to you and be protected from anything in the world, right? From bully, whatever it may be. The next thing is to be a provider. Of course, you're the man. You provide. You make sure food's on the table, food's in the fridge, right? But far more than providing sustenance, you provide love. You provide security. You provide affection. You provide protection, right? So we have provide, we have protector, then we promote, right? The next thing is being a promoter. Nobody should go harder than you for your kid or about your kid than you. Maybe the only person that would ever be able to beat you as a dad is your wife, or the child's mother, right? Because it's your kid. You should literally be swinging for the fences. You should be singing their names everywhere because that's your kid. You showing pride in your child, right? In essence, as a parent, for the most part, that kid bears your name, right? If your last name is Johnson and that kid is your kid and named him Johnson. Matter of fact, what did D.L. Hughley say? His father used to tell him, you don't go out in these streets and mess up my name because that's my name. So you have your own family, it's your name. In essence, it is your name. So anything that child does is a reflection of you. So you should promote that child in the best possible light, right? That child needs to feel like they can do anything because my dad believes I can do it and he brags about me all the time. Of course, again, like I said, it's T.D. Jakes, so the next one is a priest. You have to be a priest of your home. So I'm not going to go too religious into this, right? Whatever you believe in is whatever you believe in. I think the general purpose of this is that this is how I feel. Whatever it is you believe in, as long as you believe that there is something greater than yourself, that's where it goes, right? Because as a dad, I know for me personally, when I wavered in my belief, right, I think things got a lot worse for me. But I think it was also something that I needed to go through. And then now knowing that, like really reaffirming that there's something greater than myself, I know as a person, as a man, I can get through whatever life throws at me because I know there's something greater than me. And if I didn't know that, I think I would, I guess, have a false sense of security because I would think that I'm it, right? And if I thought that was like, I'm it, there's a lot of flaws in me, right? There's a lot of wrongs that I've done. So then that can kind of circle down that drain and go like, oh shit, well, I'm it. If I'm not shit, then how am I supposed to teach this kid not to be it? But now that I feel like there's something greater than myself that is perfect in all its being, and I can strive to be that person, and while I'm striving to be that, my son will see me and strive to be me, be that person. Am I making sense here? Right? I don't want it to be that I'm where the buck stops. I'm the top of the top, because it makes no sense. If I'm the top of the top, I already know I'm not perfect. So if I'm the top of the top, and that's what my child, I'm talking personally for me, my son sees, then there's a lot of wrong in that for me, right? But if I know that there's more that I can reach up to because there is something greater than myself, then I'm going to strive for that. And in me striving for that, I get better. And then my son sees me get better, and then he can strive to actually surpass me. You know what I'm saying? So that's how I feel about the priest. Not to be, too religious or whatnot. And then lastly, you have to prophesize, right? He wants you to be a prophet. And by prophesize, literally meaning you are to enable, you are to, what's the word? Speak your child's existence into destiny, right? You speak of their destiny. Like I tell my son, he can do whatever it is he wants to do. Whatever you put your mind to, he can do it. And yes, it's the cliche thing. Whatever you put your mind to, you can do it, right? But literally, recently, what I've been doing is, well, not recently. What me and my wife has been doing, we have this picture on his wall, and it's like, I'm amazing, I'm, super, I'm intelligent, I'm smart, all that, right? And he repeats it every now and then. But like literally, when I put him to bed at night now, what I've been doing is, he's been saying that, and then I've been saying, as a man think, so shall he be. And I've been making him repeat that. As a man think, so shall he be. As a man think, so shall he be. Just so he knows whatever he thinks, whatever he dreams, he can do. And I try not to discourage him from anything. Like, when he was a kid, he wanted to play soccer. Boom, we played soccer. Now he wants to play baseball. He plays baseball. I actually get upset with him when he tells me he can't do something, right? But that's my job as a dad, because I'm supposed to tell him he can do everything because he has the capability of doing anything he wants. And when he tells me he can't do it, I literally have, like, sometimes I do lose my patience, unfortunately, right? And I'm like, no, you can. You can do that. And sometimes, well, he'll ask for help. I just let him be. I let him be and let him figure it out. Because I love to watch, and I think it's important for us to let him do that, because once he figures it out, you see the light, right? The light clicks. You can literally see it in his eye. It clicks, and it's just like, I got it. And from then on, that lesson's learned, right? Now he doesn't think that he can't do it. Like right now we're doing swimming, right? We just got him a little pool and it was the toughest time. He was like, I can't do it. I can't do it. Like he didn't want to go underwater or whatever. But now if you see him, he's swimming laps, right? Underwater. Because before he was just scared, but you kept reinforcing, no, you can do it. You can do this. Stop being scared. You can do it. You've done it before. And now it's amazing how it really blows my mind. I swear this kid is special. And I know every parent says that about their child, like, but this kid right here, I don't know where he came from. I really don't. He's a special kid. So now, with that being said, right? So the 5 things that make a great father: protector, provider, promoter, a priest, and a prophet, right? That's what makes a great father. I also found this thing. There's a YouTube channel, Order of Man, and it was very interesting, actually. I found it on a whim, but he gave 10 things that we should be doing with our children, right? And as I'm going through the 10 things, I'm like, oh, okay, I do that. And I'm like, oh, I don't do that. Or I have tough time with that one. So here we go, right? 10 things. Recognize their differences. So here's a big one for me, right? Recognizing their differences means, like, as parents, as fathers, especially with boys, we want our sons to be exact spinning images of us, right? Like what we like, do what we do, and all that, right? But we have to recognize that they are their own individual people, their own individual person with their own likes and their own dislikes and all that stuff, right? I'm not a big video game person. I'm not. I never was as a kid. Like, I had pretty much almost all the Nintendos, but you know, it would be like I played for 2 weeks and that's it, I'm done. Or when my cousins or friends came over, that's when I played it. And everybody knows that it is what it is. I didn't play it, but I didn't let anybody have my games. That's another story, right? But my son, now I'm big into sports, right? I am New York forever, right? Jets. I don't really like the Jets just because they're just New York, so I guess I give them some type of support, but that's really it. It's Giants, Knicks, Yankees, Rangers. I'm a New York fan, right? My son, like I said, he right now he's a great baseball player for this kid being 6. Like, it's amazing, right? But I'm a Yankees fan. So in essence, we're a Yankee family. Literally yesterday night, this kid comes with a Mets hat and goes, I like the Mets. And I literally cringed. My wife saw me cringe, and I was like, no, we're a Yankee family. He's like, Dad, you don't like the Mets? And I'm like, no. And I know who did it. His uncle. The only damn Mets fan here. But whatever. But I have to allow him to like his own teams, right? He's his own person. He has to like his own team. I can't force my teams onto him. He will learn that the Mets suck. Anyway, also another thing us as fathers, as parents have to do is eliminate distractions. And this is a big one for me, right? I watch TV a lot. I'm on my phone a lot. And those are distractions to your child. They have to know and feel like you want to be around them and you want to hang out with them. So we should eliminate those distractions. We should put our phones away, play with them, go for walks, do whatever it is. Maybe even just do what they like, right? Just to show them that we are more attentive. We are there for them, right? Another thing is answer the question. So answer the question. This was an interesting one because what he was saying is that children ask certain questions about themselves, right? Boys ask, am I enough? Am I worthy? While girls ask, am I, what was it again? It was like, am I loved? And we as parents, as fathers, we have to answer those questions. We cannot let them, like, we have to show them that and answer like, hey, you're enough, you are worthy of love, you are worthy of everything coming from you, because I'm your dad, I'm your parent that not allows, it's the word I'm looking for. I believe in you, in essence. Showing them that whatever they do, you will always be there. Right? Also, as fathers, we have to teach them. And this is not always meaning teach them as in discipline, right? We have to teach them just finding everyday things as learning moments, right? Everything can be a learning moment. You don't necessarily have to discipline somebody to teach them, right? So again, like I said, I wash cars, right? And right now my son wants to help me wash cars, so he's on tire duty. But what I'm teaching him is, he might not understand it now, is to him, he's like, oh, I want to help wash the car. I want to wash the hood. I want to spray the water, this and third. But I'm like, no, your job is to do the tires. What I'm teaching you is, until you are prepared to do something, or until you have your job that you do done correctly, you cannot move on to the next project, right? Because, everybody has a purpose in this world, right? Everybody has something that they are meant to do. Everybody has a job, in essence, right? And you can't just do everything. You have to do the one that you have without a problem. Like, we learned this in the military. Like, everybody works in a single thing, but everybody's job is important. I think that's the lesson I was trying to teach them. Is that every job is important. If the tires aren't clean, the whole car is not clean. So you're helping by doing what I asked you to do. Right? We have to be silly. And as dads, I don't think we really have a problem with this one, right? Unless you're just not present. But I think dads have no problem being silly. At least I know I don't. Like, me and this kid plays tickles all the time. We're jumping around. Like, my wife literally tells us to stop because she's like, all right, who's the kid here? And everybody knows I've said I was going to be a Toys R Us kid to the day I die. So, whatever. Next one, we have to be nosy. As fathers, we need to know what's going on in our kids' lives. We need to ask them what's going on in their lives. Know about their crushes. Know about what's going on, if what's in school. What are they learning in school? Does it align with what you're teaching at home? Who are their friends? That's a big one. I never understood how some people I hung out with or whatever, their parents didn't know who their friends were. Like, you just never saw their parents, if you did hang out with them at their house, like, their parents didn't know who their friends were, who they hung out with. Mine knew. Like, they was either always at my house or, like, I didn't understand it. I did not understand that shit. And they, those are the type of people that have no authority. Like, they just did whatever they want, and sorry to say, a lot of them aren't doing good today. So, as a father, definitely be nosy. Next, coach their teams. My wife is gonna love this one because she stayed trying to get me to coach the baseball team, and eventually I probably will. I just have to get used to baseball because that's not my favorite sport. It's not. But like I said, recognize the differences. He likes baseball, and I like baseball contracts. Be a dad first, a friend second. Just as we went with being nosy, I'm a firm believer in this. I think my dad was my friend, but I knew not to cross that line because he was my father. Like, regardless of anything, he was going to be my dad first. And whether I needed to get in trouble or needed to be praised, he was going to do that first. He was my friend second. I knew I can go talk to my dad about whatever I wanted, but I knew I kind of had to temper myself because he would be a father first. Get them involved. Like I said, like he wants to wash cars, so I gave him a job. You know, when I'm working on the house, I give him a job, whether it's just to get me tools or whatnot. Like that's how he learns. I remember growing up, this is for, I think it was 8th grade, or it might have been senior year. No, 8th grade. We built a deck, and every day, it was around the end of the year because it was for my 8th grade graduation party that this deck was built for. I would come home from testing and go in the backyard and help my dad and whoever they were, help paid to do the deck. And I was out there every day building the deck with them. Like, that was just my job. Like, he got me involved. Anytime he was fixing a car or fixing something in the house, I was helping. That was your job to do. So as fathers, that's what we need to do. Get your children involved. And it doesn't always have to be work. It's just get them involved in whatever it is that you're doing. And lastly, teach them hard work. I think that's the biggest thing that I want to pass on to my son, is being taught what hard work is and what hard work does. And that hard work will pay off, but also it doesn't pay off. I was watching something and I thought it was really funny. This woman, she was talking about fathers in America, and she was saying how her dad, when she was a kid, they used to do the Easter egg hunts, and she knew that with this Easter egg hunt, this certain egg that her dad would do had $5 in it, and she needed $5 to go get something. So she worked long and hard to find this $5 egg. And she finally found it, and she had to build like a whole contraption to get that egg out from where it was while her dad's watching her. And then when she opened up that egg, the egg did not have $5 in it. It had dog shit in it. And she ran away crying. But her dad ran after her and explained to her. She was like, Dad pretty much was like, you understand the first lesson I was trying to teach you, that with hard work, you get rewarded, right? Because anytime she found that egg, it was $5. So she worked hard to look for that $5. So he's like, you understood that lesson. But this last lesson is sometimes you can work a lot as hard as you want and you still wind up with shit. And I thought that was very profound because it's very true. Sometimes you work as hard as you want and you still end up with shit. So I am actually running out of time. Instagram only gives us a certain amount of time. I hope you all enjoyed this as much as I did. I think with fatherhood and topics like these, I might actually have to make a series of them. So, because there's stuff I didn't even touch on yet. The stuff that I wanted to touch on that I didn't get to. So I think I'm going to break it down on different aspects of fatherhood, and we're going to touch on them in later episodes. But I appreciate you all, guys. You all for coming. I keep saying that. And I hope to see you next week. Again, as soon as this comes up, I'm going to post it on the Instagram channel. That's Drin Talks. Definitely go check out the channel. Hit the like button. Hit the subscribe button. Share it, please. I'm trying to reach a lot more people. So definitely share. And after that, I appreciate you all, guys. I appreciate you all. I love you all. Thank you for coming out. Peace.